Hey guys, how are you doing? Look, back in the green room. I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to get you guys in that back in the green room because we be back there talking and yeah, jamming and all like that. But I'm gonna have to start. I said that last week. I'm gonna definitely work on it for next week so I can have you guys come back. Those of you who want to see what we do in the back, what we're talking about, jamming. I'm either dancing or whatever, having a good old time, just getting ready to have some fun. But that's here nor there. I want to welcome you all to another week of Book on the Shelf. This is Vision Made Book Club. I did this because I wanted women to know that there's more to our what's next. And as you may know or may not know, I'm always talking about one way to expand our mind is by books, by reading. And I know y'all gonna ready to get ready to slam me talking about Pam. You don't read. I don't read. I do, but I don't. I actually have Audible and I listen to Audible. So I have over 90 books over there. So I'm always listening to. I love listening to books. I love just expanding my mind. And so I started doing the book club here. So I bring on different authors here who's out here doing their thing, but also helping us expand our mind. And so tonight, those of you who are sitting in the corporate world, or you maybe just sitting anywhere and you're looking for a break in your career, but you don't even know what's your compass or how to even start it or even go that route. Well, you're in a perfect place. So tonight's guest is her name is Laura, and her book is look, I'm going to think of it. Wait, career break compass. Look, thought of it on top of my head, you guys. And so, with that being said, if you have any questions, please drop them in the feed. You can even now send me a text message at 614-398-3925. Drop us a question or even can give us a shout out. So, without further ado, let me bring Laura to the stage. Hey, Laura.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Welcome to the Book on the Shelf Book Club.
Happy to be here. Excited to be here.
Me too. As we were talking, I was telling everybody as we were talking back in the green room, we were talking about this is such a important topic. I think it comes right on time. I do think it's coming on time, especially that it's almost year-end reviews or the beginning of the year reviews are coming around, and a lot of people were like, "Oh my goodness." I see it. Everyone's like, "Okay, I got another year." And so I want women to know, or not even just women, but people to know that you have that grace and there is a way to break your career, get that break for a moment. So first and foremost, how did you even come up with it? It's a brilliant look. I've been playing off it all day, so you'll see it in Facebook and everywhere. But how did you come up with this amazing topic?
Well, Pamela, thank you. I came up with it because I needed it, to be honest with you. So I had spent 2 decades on the corporate side leading high-performing marketing teams, and I just totally burnt out. I didn't even believe in what burnout was before I experienced it myself, to be totally honest. And so when I decided that I wanted to take a career break, I did all of this research and I did not find a roadmap or a rubric to help me figure out how do I navigate my burnout? How do I recover from it? How do I create a plan for my career break in a way that would ensure that I was using the time effectively and efficiently, because that's how my brain was wired? And how can I ensure that I could re-enter the work world in a better spot than I was when I needed the break, right? So how do I start to relearn and unlearn some habits to implement into my day-to-day kind of post-break?
Well, I think that would be hard. Let's start off with first question I want to know, which I really loved, is what is the difference between a vacation and a career break? Because I mean, I'm getting ready I do take vacation breaks, but then when you're like, there's a difference, what is the difference?
Yeah, this is a great question. So first off, the unfortunate thing about vacations is, one, people don't take all of their vacation, and two, many of us work during our vacations.
True.
And so for 20 years, I traveled with my laptop on vacations, during family events and, holidays, whatever it might be. I took that laptop with me. No one asked me to, but I felt like I needed to so that I could be accessible. the truth was is that, there's many of us who before our families wake up and before our days start for vacation, we're checking email and we're getting a few things done. We might be doing that in between a planned activity. And so the difference between a vacation and a career break is two things. One, it is a separation from work. And so it's an intentional separation from work to allow you to rest and recharge and identify what you want to do next. The second is typically it's about longevity. Most of us take a vacation that is, here in the United States, we might take a week, and that's like an average amount of a vacation. A career break can be anywhere between a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, or plus. And so it depends on each person's individual situation. My personal career break was 3 months, and I added a month at the end to kind of prep me into doing what I wanted to do next. And so the most common that I see is typically around, that 3-month time period.
So when you take that break, and I so agree with you. I think let me just say this. I think we need to come up with take it to the higher ups and have them implement in a career break, because let's be honest, if we had that break, your mentality is so different. You come in refreshed, you come in rejuvenated, and you come in, you're ready to hit the ground running and ready to help the organization move to the next level, versus when you're taking that vacation, that week vacation, as you talked about, when Monday comes around, what do we always say? Oh my God, it's Monday and I'm ready.
There's so much to do.
or like, okay. And then you're getting your mindset, for that being said. So when you had taken that career break, how did you first for me, it would be the mind shift, right? I'm going out for this long period of time. So what did you even do to prepare for that break? And then as you was on that break, what did you do to prepare to come back into the world?
Yeah. So a couple things I want to talk about too that you had mentioned. The first one is around corporations and how they can help enable breaks. And so there's a couple ways that organizations do that today that we just may not know about, right? As an employee, we might not know about. One is about 17% of global corporations have a sabbatical program. So that program might be you have to stay at a company for 5 years and then you get 3 months off that's paid, and you get to use that time for volunteerism or development or whatever you want to use it for. And so those sabbatical programs exist. We just typically don't ask about them and we don't know how that's structured. The second is around a leave. And so, most organizations, you probably have heard of a leave of absence or FMLA. So where you're taking a medical leave of absence to take care of yourself or for a family member. And so that also is an option, especially if you're experiencing burnout. You can also explore whether you want to take a medical leave of absence or even a voluntary leave of absence as an opportunity to spend that time. And so the next piece goes, how do you prepare for a break? And so the first place we all start is financials, right?
Yes.
We want to understand, how long do you want to take your break for? How much money do you need saved to enable you to do what you want to do during your break? So let's say, for example, during your break, you want to do a lot of traveling. So we need to understand what's your day-to-day expenses now. And then also what would be a projected expense for you to think about when you're going to, be gallivanting around the world, right? So we want to make sure that we have the financial capacity to be able to do what you want to do during that break.
Right.
The next thing is, how are you going to spend your time? And so in the book, I talk about 4 core pillars. It's play, pause, plan, and then pursue. But really the core is around play, pause, and plan. And so the reason that's really important is, for most of us, especially us adults, play feels frivolous to us.
True.
We feel like we need to be productive. We got to maximize every minute, or we're too exhausted and we just need to decompress and scroll on Instagram or watch Netflix. And so, but those are not play. Play is about being in flow. It's about doing something you enjoy that really activates kind of that fun joy meter for us.
Yes.
So I used to ask myself, Pamela, like, when's the last time I had fun? People would ask, like, what do you do for fun? Or like, well, do you have a hobby? And I'm like, I don't have time for a hobby. You're joking, right? And
Yeah,
so that's why we got to start with play and identify in what ways can you reactivate the joy and the fun for you so that we have this one life. Like, let's enjoy it.
absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Look, I'm over here trying to think. I'm sorry. I was visualizing myself. Sorry about that. Let me come
Where
back.
were you? Tell me.
I was on the beach somewhere. I was in Morocco sitting out and
Yes.
just chilling, enjoying the weather and just seeing the sunset, sitting down there. But so many people don't even do that part of it. I'm always they can catch me in a daydream in a moment. And I'm like, okay, let me bring myself back together. But I think it's important for even I know I'm sure, let me back up. I'm sure there's some people in that's listening to us is having a meltdown or a shock. Like I can't have that. And let's be honest, a lot of people are thinking they can't have that, all of this. So if you have someone that's overwhelmed or thinking that they can't, what is one little piece of nugget that they can at least start getting to that point?
Yes. So I always say start now, right? It all starts with starting. Most people, when they think about a career break, they're going, wow, I would need to make sure that's going to be another 6 months out or another year out before I can do
Mhm.
that. But it's
Right.
about right now. And so I always say, imagine, especially when we talk about fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are 3 things? Write down 3 things right now that are things that you've wanted to do or experience, but you've deprioritized. And
Mm,
so that can be something as small as I want to spend time and learn how to play the guitar or the piano, or I want to take time and I love doing puzzles and I just haven't done a puzzle in forever. Those are inexpensive,
true.
typically free things that you can do right now. And then I want you to put next to it, what day are you going to do that this week?
Ooh.
And that's the key is how do you start now?
Oh
And I
my.
want to I love what you just said about sitting on that beach in Morocco, enjoying the sunset. And I talk
Mhm.
about that as P for pause, right?
Right.
Being mindful, being
Yeah.
present. And so you don't have to be in Morocco to enjoy a sunset, right?
No.
Like we can go enjoy a sunset, now the sun's setting much earlier,
Right.
but like block the time and go tomorrow during the sunset. I'm going to go sit outside and watch that beautiful sunset and enjoy. It's 15 minutes once you start to see the sun go down and all of a sudden the clouds start changing colors and
Wow.
enjoy that moment. You don't have to be in Morocco to do it. You can do it
Right.
right here, right now.
And that's so true. But Morocco sounds so pretty right now as
For
well.
sure. 100%.
I'm just like, but you're right. I used to walk when the sunset started, when the
Mm,
sun started rising. I would take my walk intentionally because I got to see. And I'm a person. I know some people aren't, but I'm a person. If I feel the sun on me, my day is going to be like. I can go out here. I can walk my 3 mile walk in less than, I can go out here and I can conquer the world with no problems. And so that's when I started to doing my walk and going to walk because again, and it made me feel good. And I come in and I can get things going. But you're absolutely right. You don't have to go anywhere. It's just me thinking about sitting on the beach and things like that. But let me ask you this. One thing I do want to ask you is as we're planning for the career break, without jeopardizing our a professional trajectory, how do we
yeah.
do that?
Yeah. So what it really gets grounded on are a few things. One is most of us don't have a clear understanding of what are our values? What do we care about?
Mm,
Okay. So when we talk about career trajectory, and I've used that myself so often, right? I'm like, what's my career trajectory?
right.
But a career trajectory assumes that you are a rocket ship. And we are not all rocket ships, right? We have
True.
seasons of life where we're sprinting. There are seasons of life where, you're learning, you're growing, you're expanding. So what we have to understand is first get grounded on what are your values? Who are you as a person? What do you care about? And then from there, we can start to understand, okay, what decisions am I going to make that impact my career? So
Right.
for me, authenticity, belonging, and growth are my top 3 core values. And so when I think about how I show up in the workplace, how I show up on this call, how I show up, for my community, it's
Yeah.
all about how do I live those values? And if it doesn't align with those values, Pamela, then I have to say no to it, right? And
Mm,
so when we think about career trajectory or what our next phase of our career is going to be, It's about allowing ourselves the space to think about who are we, how do we want to show up, and what does that mean for us when it comes to our occupation.
So when we do, and I so agree with you, when you're saying who we are, so many people are so tied up into, and this is something we talked about in the back of the green room. So many people are tied to, and no pun, so I need to explain this, that they're tied to their corporate job, or they're tied to their job now. So they don't know who they are, and they're just lost. What do you say to that? Or what is your suggestion to help them get past that? And the reason why I say that, let me say this, you guys. I've asked so many people, what is their what's next? And everyone's like, if I hit the lottery. Well, you guys, the likelihood of us hitting the lottery is very slim, but I don't want us to live in the hope. I want us to know that we have the control. And so this is all about giving you the control back, so you can know that you have the possibility to do whatever you want to do. If you want to go into the corporate world and move up the corporate ladder, it's your choice. And knowing that it's giving you the ownership back to you on your life. But I can see, again, I can already hear my team talk to me about this tomorrow. And that's okay. But again, how do we start crushing this and chipping it down little by little for that piece?
Yeah, this is such a tough, true question, right? When I think about my identifiers before I took my break,
Mhm.
being a leader, being a marketing executive was my identity. It was how I defined myself. It's how I introduced myself. And when I walked away from that role, it made me question everything, right?
Mhm.
It starts to make you go, okay, well, who am I if not this work? Who am I if I'm not achieving what I had set out to achieve? It becomes everything for us.
True.
And the way that we unpack it is unfortunately we have to go, what are when we talk about core values, what are those other areas of our life that are really important to us? And our worth and our value have nothing to do with our title, right? Our worth and our value have to do with how we contribute to the people around us and the relationships in our lives. And so, as someone who really struggled with being basically an addict to work, like I love to work. I still do today. Even as an entrepreneur, that was really a challenge for me because I could just sink myself into work.
Mhm.
But you have to learn how to separate yourself of like, am I actually happy in this role? And if you are, I love that. That's fantastic,
Right. Right.
right?
Exactly.
But if there's other areas you want to grow and expand in, then it's about allowing yourself to explore it, that we're more than these titles.
So when we do say we're taking this break, right? We're going to take this career break and we're going to go rejuvenate ourselves. Have you ever had someone to say, "Okay, now I'm ready to go back, but not to what I came from"?
Yeah, for sure. Right? Because that's the exploration where you go, one of the things I talk about in plans. So after you play, you pause, you plan, right? In the third
Yes.
phase, we have this career decision criteria where basically you're exploring what are the other avenues that are most interesting to you. So they build this Excel sheet and they add all these ideas of what they could potentially do. And my personal story, Pamela, was like I had 35 things on that spreadsheet. It was things like opening a smoothie shop, working on a cruise ship, having a farm. Like it was all of these things, like totally off the wall things.
Yes.
But also on that list were things like I want to write a book. I
Mhm.
want to do consulting. I want to lead teams again. I want to figure out a way that I could work in, be able to help organizations with diversity, equity, and inclusion. Like these are things that I care about. And so, there are things that are feasible areas, and then there are also things that are like pie in the sky, kind of like if I won the lottery options, right?
Right. So
And
true.
so, most folks, as they go through that, they're starting to explore what are those other avenues, this dream they haven't explored. And one of the key things I talk about is it is a dream. And how do we make it a reality? But also, before we do that, we need to go through and understand, does it align with your core values?
Right.
Does it align with your inherent strengths? What do you need to make money off of this? Because then you have to think about what's the revenue potential upside.
Right.
And then you also think about, well, do you have to learn a new trade? So, someone like, let's say they went for marketing and then became a, like what is it? A PT,
Okay.
physical therapist.
Purpose.
Okay. So they made the shift to a physical therapist, very different field, right? And
Absolutely.
so with that means, okay, well, you have to go back to school. And if you go back to school, then what's the startup cost that it's going to be for you? So we
Right.
think about those criteria and we say, is this something that you want to continue to pursue? Or is there, out of your other 35 list of items, is there something else you want to explore?
Wow. So you really did have a ice. You did have a smoothie shop on your list.
It was. It sure was. Yeah.
That is, I can see that. I truly can see that in a little bit of time. I surely can see that. That is great.
It's
So
just like a happy place that people come, and get sugared up and they're just, playing games or whatever. But, for me, it didn't make sense based on what I really wanted to do. And so I didn't pursue that one.
So as you have journeyed, and your journey is amazing, and I hope everyone is really sitting down and listening to what Laura is saying, because I could talk to her all day. I mean, this is just really fascinating to me. But real quick, Laura, if they wanted to purchase your book, where can they purchase your book at?
Yep. So it's right here. You can get it on Amazon. Oh, where's the camera? There it is. Career Break Compass. You can get it on Amazon, anywhere books are sold, but I'm sure most people are on Amazon. It is available on Audible. Pamela, as you had said, listening to book is reading a book. I'm a firm believer in that. So it's on ebook, it's on audio, and it's on printed.
I already actually had bought it in I haven't, and don't ask me why, because you heard me say I like them doing Audible, but I did it on my Kindle. I'm gonna have to see if I can go over and move it to I need it to read to me. I'm not even gonna kid. I'm not kidding you. I did get it in, like I said, I did ordered it on Kindle, so thinking I was gonna read it on Kindle, and I'm like, well, while I'm working, I can really listen to it. That's where my mind works. So tonight,
Yes,
I have to move it over to the Audible.
well, probably, honestly, Pamela, probably because the audio version wasn't available until last week. So it took us actually a long time to get it
Okay, so that's probably was
on Amazon's Audible.
okay.
I had to go through some of these hoops, but yes, now it's available on Audible and you can get
Well,
it there for sure.
okay, I'll
Yeah.
get over there tonight.
And I'm reading it, so you'll get to hear like me yabber on.
That is so cool. And also, Laura, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, what is the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can find me at my website. It's lauranguyen.co. And we can probably drop it somewhere, but it's NGUYEN.co. Or you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. Find me either of those places. I'm on TikTok, all those fun places.
I also have you down below. I don't know if you can see scrolling down the bottom. I did drop the book and your name and everything like that, as well as we have some amazing sponsors tonight too. But before I let you go, this has been tremendously fun, and I thank you for joining me. But it helped me. I'm always thinking like, okay, let me bring on authors that can help me, that will then able to help everybody else, right? So with that, going back to the career compass, I like that you had created a roadmap, because I'm one of those people. I need a roadmap. Now, it's good that you talk, but I like the roadmap where, okay, here's what I got to do. Okay, I can work on a little bit more. Here's what I got to do. And this is what I like. So I really like that part of it. As you see, I got in the book a little bit, but again, I'm gonna have to read it to get further along. But thank you for doing that piece of it. But let me ask you this: as you had talked about, is it pause? No, pursue. Pursue.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talked about pursue, we're talking about pursuing our new career opportunity, or are we talking about pursue, or are we talking about whatever?
We're talking about whatever, but honestly, it's about the integration, right? Like, so one of the things that when you go through a career break, it is a very transformative experience if you allow it to be, right? And so if you allow yourself to be in the moment, you learn so much about yourself in this journey. And so the next piece goes, for a lot of people, the biggest fear after you've been burnt out or after you come back, right, is like, well, I don't want to go back to the person I was. Like I'm not that same person. So I have to figure out now, how do I bring this new me, this kind of, and integrate it into my existing world? And so whether that's going back to a role that you were in or finding a new role, it's really about what are the systems you need to put in place to be able to reintegrate yourself. And how can you ensure that you're still infusing play, pause, and plan into your week? So I still do that now, where on the weekends for play, I like to treat my weekends like it's a vacation. And
Mm,
so it allows me and forces me in a positive way to ensure that I reactivate and fill my play tank. So that's really important. So I'm always like, what's my play date for this weekend that we can do? And that's with my family or as a solo sport. And then same thing with pause. How am I taking time to pause during my week? And then for plan, how do I infuse that into my day-to-day weekly routine? And so that becomes really the key is when you're looking at pursuit, it's about how do I pursue this new adventure for
yes,
myself
yes.
and create structure and be intentional about what that looks like. Because
I
if you
think
don't set the roadmap, right, someone else is going to do it for you.
and that's I was just going to say that if you don't set it or you and but it's easy for someone if you don't you sit back you be like you know what yeah I had it was all good I can't see myself doing that it is scary but again I understand it going in with confidence this is where your confidence kicks in I feel at this point in level that's where I see mine coming in is where I'm going to pursue because again me knowing that okay here comes the new Pam and I'm getting ready to throw it into this and then I see everybody be like well wait a minute and then I can see myself backtracking so
Mhm.
knowing that I have to be intuitive to what is going on around me day to day. That is one word actually I put in my highlighted in the notes. Be intuitive on how am I moving and how is everything else moving around me to this new Pam because
Mhm.
everybody's not used to that new Pam. So did you encounter any people that were like, okay, this is the new Laura. I'm not too sure about her and how are we going to adapt her if did you encounter any of that? And if so, how did you adjust? Did you adjust? Maybe I should say. Did you even adjust, or did you be like, you know what, it's on your own?
Yeah. So I'll start with like probably the ripple effect, right? Because the people who are closest to us are going to experience it first. And
True.
so, my spouse, for example, right? She was very much like, you are different now than you were before. Like it is a different Laura. And that was really important for me because I was setting boundaries differently. I was setting boundaries in for my relationship with my extended family, with my friends because I thought about this career break very much like being in this safe container, which meant that I needed to allow myself to explore me and redefine me. And when you re-enter, people do recognize, okay, this is a little bit different. And how do I have this conversation? And you can be open and honest. So I can be like, well, I don't do that. I'm not interested in doing that anymore. This is really important to me. So having an open dialogue about this is the journey you've been on is an important one. The other key piece is recognizing that, let's say from a personal perspective, maybe what was important to you is no longer important to you. And maybe that relationship that you've been really hanging on to is actually not healthy for you. And
Mhm.
so something that you might recognize is that, oh, I need to create separation so that I can make sure that I'm being healthy and happy. Let's talk about it from a work perspective.
Mhm.
So when you're at work and you start to recognize, ooh, someone goes, oh, well, that's not how Pam would have done that before.
Right.
And so, or they can be like, oh, well, that's a new way that you've approached it, Pam. And you can say, thanks, I've looked at I've got different tools in my toolbox now. And, I'm learning and adapting in a different way. And so it's you being confident in that perspective, but also allowing yourself to go, how do I take a step back? Recognize the awareness. Where is the anxiety coming from me? And where is it from the other person? Like it's about understanding where that energy is differently within ourselves and other people. I think I have always seen or felt the energy from other people before. I used to talk about it like everybody's a battery. And so another person might be draining to your battery or someone might
Yes.
be recharging and filling to your battery. And so I'm much more keenly aware of that now. And I go, okay, is this going to be a space where I need to put a shield up before I
Right.
walk into a situation because it's going to be battery draining for me?
Well, I really like that. That's so helpful. I hope everyone has found our time has came and gone. This was so, I know it's been, this
So
was
fast.
so fast. So real quick, Laura, before we close down, I'm gonna let you close down first. Where people can find you. Two, what is your last words you like to leave everybody with?
Mm. Yeah, find me on my website. It's laurannguyen.co. That's where you can find me the most. Lasting words of advice. I think the biggest one is give yourself permission to take the time that you need for you. I think so often we think about self care as like bubble baths, or even if it is just going on a walk, right? But so much of it is about the routines that we put into our life, and giving ourselves permission to say, I'm going to prioritize me in this moment right now is so, so important.
So true. Great words, wise words. Thank you so much. I thank you again. You guys have just now have heard the nuggets that was just dropped by Laura, and her book is Career Break Compass. Look, I'm trying to remember it off my head. Career Break Compass. You guys go out there and get it. She said it's just dropped on Amazon. I'm going to move over and get it on Audible so I can listen to it while I'm working tomorrow, so I can get to navigating my way to a career break. Laura, if you hold on for a moment, I'll put you in the green room. Don't hang up, and I'll be right back with you. Thanks.
Much.
Okay, guys, this was another edition of Book on a Shelf where I just interviewed and talked to Laura, who is the author and writer of an amazing book, which is called Career Break Compass. It is a roadmap on helping you, if you need a break from your current career, how to get that break. I'm that person. I need a roadmap that tells me how to do it and how to navigate through it. If you're like me, grab that book. Again, it's on Amazon. And guess what? She even has it in Audible, so I'll be able to get it in Audible. Until next week, you guys, when I come on with another amazing author, as I'm always saying, I love the knowledge is power. Take care. Until next week, everyone. Bye.